16th Sunday in Ordinary Time, Year A. The transforming yeast. One thing we notice is that good and evil move side by side in the world. One question is, why does God not just exterminate all the evil people around in order to purify the world? Very good question. The gospel of today seeks to offer great answers through three parables. The parable of the wheat, or the parable of the tares, the parable of the mustard seed, and the parable of the yeast. With these parables, Jesus gives an answer to those who are scandalized and seeing evil everywhere. He insists on the fact that the kingdom of God begins like a small, insignificant mustard seed. At the beginning, it may not be noticeable, but Christians, through their virtue, through their virtuous acts, are like the transforming yeast that boosts the growth and the visibility of the kingdom. At the end, there is a clear distinction between the good, that's the wheat, and the evil, that's the weed or the tares. The final stage will come only at the end of the process. The Lord will not suppress the weeds immediately. His call to conversion is ongoing. We are constantly called to be the wheat giving life, and not the weeds that destroy or that disturb the growing of the wheat. One thing with our world is that there are two forces: the power that seeks to do things well, and the power that tries to spoil what is good. Evil has a very deceptive nature. In the gospel today, we are told that the evil person came and planted the weeds when other people were asleep. So deceptive. A Christian must follow the power that does things well and not be influenced by the evil. One thing is certain, that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12. Sooner or later, evil will become evident. In effect, though we live in an age in which evil and good exist together or coexist, it is clear, however, that good and evil remain quite distinct from each other, and the evil can be recognized as evil, and the good can be recognized as good. In this light, St. Peter's letter becomes so pertinent because he advises us to be very careful. He says, "Be calm but vigilant, because your enemy, the devil, is prowling around like a lion, seeking for someone to devour." 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8. There are two very important lessons one can draw from the parable of the weeds. God respects people. That's the first. He knows that temptation is often stronger than our good intentions, and we need time to find and to choose steadily what is good. That's why he gives much time to the penitent sinner. The second is that God is patient. The reconciliation of so many contradictory groups, forces, and cultural currents active in this world will be attained only at the end of time. In the meantime, we are not to label any of them as the good ones or the bad ones. In effect, good and evil will be mixed to the end of the world. Good and evil will always be found together in personal and institutions. Time will obviously bring maturity. Yes, the kingdom of God begins like a mustard seed, so tiny. Its smallness can make us not even appreciate it. But we have to make sure that we are the good soil that welcomes the seed, that nourishes it, and that will obviously continue to help the seed to grow, to become a big tree that will give life to the birds who will make their nest there. As believers, therefore, we are the yeast of the world, the yeast that transforms human history by infusing into human activity the spirit that gives life to mankind. That transformation takes place gradually at a rhythm that we have to respect. The life which the yeast brings forth is always present, ready to change things from their roots, to transform what seems like insignificant dust into bread that is nourishing. Welcoming the yeast of the Lord's grace in our lives means accepting the transformation which makes service to our neighbor. May Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.